But I'd never seen her before, whereas I have seen Owen O'Brien, Dara O'Brien, and Pascal before. So yeah, but they were talking about we're building more houses, but they want to build loads of houses, more houses than they built before. Can't remember the exact figures, but more than before, with less construction workers and less people getting involved in the trades. Why? Because they're more appreciated abroad. So they go abroad. Like Irish people are known for being builders, for being tradesmen, for being police officers, Irish women for being nurses, very good nurses as well, I might add, some of the best in the world. But they all have to go abroad to get appreciated. There is nothing keeping them here in a country that is now wealthy, that we should be really keeping people, but we're not because we just don't appreciate it. Being a nurse is not an easy job. Being a doctor is not an easy job. Being a construction worker is not an easy job. But we do not fucking appreciate how difficult they work, or how difficult their work is, I should say. And naturally, you're going to go abroad if you're not appreciated. If you're not getting the pay you deserve, there's more rules and regulations. It's harder than ever to work, harder than ever to turn over a profit. Like my dad, electrician by trade, not easy. Up at the early hours of the morning, out on the site all day, regardless of the weather. You still have to get the job done. Not easy work. And he went abroad. He went to London to get work, and it was a good life experience for him. Came back, but talking to him, like he had to go abroad because there were no jobs, or it was very difficult. The money was shite. I think the difference now is that it doesn't have to be this bad. That's the main difference. It does not have to be this bad, and yet we're making it that way because there's greedy fuckers who are not appreciative of what we're going through. I think before Brexit, the UK had the highest student fees for college, whereas now we're certainly second, if not first, on that list. We have very high student fees, and I was blessed. Now, and this is an opportunity I got. I got the Susie grant, so my university, which it was a university education. So boy, was I lucky. Um, and I got the fees paid for, but they're cutting student grants at a time where the cost of living is through the roof. And like, let's look abroad, and let's look at home even as well. The only places where you really see student accommodation, like when you hear Americans saying my dormitory, my dormitory, they don't consider the locality of the college or university where they want to go to. They just go because there's accommodation on campus. And in mainland Europe, it's the same. It's kind of weird because I was there thinking, yeah, TUD, Tala campus, or Institute of Technology, Tala, as it was at the time when I went there, starting off. I thought of that because it was local, didn't take me long to get there. Well, it did take long on the congested traffic, which we're also very bad at as well. We've the worst congested traffic in Europe, I think. So we're scoring highly on all the bad stats, and we're scoring very low on the good stats. Great success. Um, Man, I love Borat. But nowhere else do they consider how near the college is to their home because there's accommodation. Whereas I was talking to a lad that I was in first year with from Belfast, and he was saying that the accommodation he was paying for was he was staying in Killinarden originally, which is it's a rough enough area in Tallinn now. And don't get me wrong, I boxed there. I was in Sacred Heart Boxing Club for a little bit. Great club, a lot of really tough men. So look, not this in the area, but it's not a very safe area. There's been a lot of antisocial behaviour. And then he moved to Fairhouse, paid a bit more for that. But it wasn't exactly cheap, you need a dorm, like an on-campus dorm, really, it's just mad. It really is. But yeah, moving on to the next comment. GXHHH, we'll go Triple H. Triple H, the wrestler. Are you him, Mr. Levesque? GX Triple H ER 3896. It's hard, buddy. I'm working my whole life, 31 now, trying to save a deposit, getting nowhere. No kids, no girlfriend, and I regret staying here now. I wish I would have gone to Canada or somewhere else, bar here. So yeah, you're only you're only 5 years older than me, so not much of an age gap. And you're saying it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Um, I think it's good to travel as well, but particularly now, doesn't seem like much incentive, does there? And then we just mentioned in the comments. Yeah, it's not uncommon. Yeah, previous generations, I do think in general they are very unsympathetic. Now, I'm getting a lot more sympathy as I go on because I think everyone's realizing, oh, maybe it is hard. My dad always says, the world's your oyster. He always goes, the world's your lobster. That's what he always says to me. But yeah, there is a reason, you know. Um, there is a lot of options now. There is, but there's too many, I think, as in there's too many people telling you different things, and career guidance is globally shit, I think. I think in general, like I've heard Americans tell me it's shit. I've heard English people say and just go, oh, when you speak to a guidance counselor, you don't really get very far. So I'm like, oh, for you guys as well. Yeah, guidance counselor sounds great on paper, but it seems to be a shit show, unfortunately. Could be a very important role, but unfortunately, they seem to get away with doing a very poor job. I got told 2 weeks before the leaving cert, having already picked my subjects, that I shouldn't have picked physics. And I was there saying, well, thank you for that. Now I'm absolutely shitting myself. And I think that I picked the wrong subjects because you've just told me. But I literally have locked in all my subjects. Why the fuck did you not tell me sooner? Would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? But thanks for telling me 2 weeks before the leaving, sir. Now that I have to actually sit the exam, the DATs that you do, it's basically to see where you have an aptitude, like where you score highly. Physics was not one of them. She had a whole year to tell me this, and she told me 2 weeks before the leaving, sir. So that'll give you a little idea. You realise the importance of school when you leave. It is so important. It's the building blocks of who you're going to be for the rest of your life. Well, I mean, that's a bit extreme, but it can certainly help you out, and you can push people towards a trade. Let them not, like if they're good with their hands, you should see that and go, look, you're good with your hands, would you consider getting a trade? Not, oh, if you don't get 100,000 points in the leaving, sir, you can only get like 700, I think, but you know what I mean. Like my mate, I'm not shit all over him, he has dyslexia and he worked very hard, he wanted to be a teacher. But the leaving cert's tough, and it doesn't suit everybody. It certainly didn't suit me and my brother because we're not the type to just regurgitate bollocks. We'd like to know what we're actually doing. Why am I doing this? Why am I studying this? Five in a daily. Oh, you bet we've got five in it. Oh, got 99 five in it, but a bitch ain't one. Five in it is problems for anyone who's not Irish. Five in a daily Oiga is problems of the youth or young people, if it's directly translated. Um, But we were just made regurgitate line after line, and that stuff drives me mental. It's mind-numbingly boring, and you don't know what the fuck you're actually putting down. I remember doing our straw picture. Anyone remember straw picture parodies? Oh, those were the days. Loads of them have been deleted now, I think, because when people go into it to actually study them for the leaving, sir, the parodies came up and were making people stupid, but they weren't studying the ones they were supposed to. I thought they were fucking brilliant. So sad that they're deleted, but I think that's unique to our specific generation and year, like our particular year in school, the class of 2017. None of us will ever know the joy of raw picture parodies. We got that. Didn't distract us too much, thank God. But yeah, it's definitely something to consider, isn't it? You need to be getting people young and telling them, look, consider a different career path. This is where you're good. These are your areas of strength. Go with them. Not saying you never work on areas where you're weak, but you certainly make a career in the area where you're good. Let's work with that. Scott Galloway, you ever hear of him? He's a very clever guy, businessman. He does a lot of interviews with the likes of Chris Williamson, Steve Bartlett, just talking about why young men are so lost today. And he's very empathetic, and credit to him. He goes, I'm presenting you facts. They are struggling. You can't tell me they're not. They clearly are. And here's why I believe. Check him out if you get a chance. His stuff is brilliant. Oh, I have that recorded. Please don't give me any spoilers. Now that I've said it, will you send me spoilers? I don't know. Then we have J Mob 3292. You can still get yourself a working visa up until 35. You can still make that decision. Hope so. um, Definitely something I'm going to check out. So thank you for that. And then we have Signaman, 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 as in like Sigma. Were you trying to say Sigma man? Let me know. Wasting your energy here because it's out of your reach at home. Dead right. If you can still go, go. If it's in you to go, good. Don't waste it on flogging a dead horse. Don't stay and be bitter. Go and be sweet. Love that. Can I keep that one? I think that's a really good quote. Yeah, spot on. I think you're right. Flogging a dead horse, haven't I? I really think you're right there. You've got a good point. I think it's very clever. It's certainly something to consider. Do good and go abroad. Don't be don't be wasting your life. It really is worth saying, you know. And then I just talk about I'd love to visit Australia. My mom told me about it and said she basically came into herself, or found herself when she went to Australia. Loved it, and that was in exactly 1990. Because I only asked her yesterday, just having a chat, but she was telling me all about it, and I think she's only sold me on the idea. I've always wanted to go, and having met a lot of Aussies through playing rugby, I think they're very easygoing people. It'd certainly be a spot that I'd love to see. Maybe I won't live there, but I certainly think it's something I'd like to do in the future, um, for sure. Um, I think I love that quote because you're right, staying and complaining all the time. Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely something I'm guilty of. Hold my hand up again. But yeah, it is. Whereas, got my degree, that's in the bag, you know. And I think if I look for jobs, perhaps I'll come back to Ireland and be more positive and upbeat. But maybe I'll stay, you know. But I think you make a really good point. So we'll say Signa man. Maybe you meant to say it like that, throwing us around a little. But thank you very much. I think it's a really good comment. And JMob3292. Thanks for commenting. Yeah. I would be sad to leave Ireland. Yeah, like it's my home. It's all I really know. But sure, we'll give it a go and see what happens. And yeah, been planning to move abroad for years anyway. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed in the near future. But I have something sorted out in this first. We've got a Kitawaki, Kitawake. How the hell are you pronouncing that? Now, I think you're responding to JMob 3292. And what do you have to offer Canada that's not being recognised in Ireland? Being a victim won't get you anywhere. I don't see how that's helpful. you know. Don't see why you're having a go with the guy. Perhaps he has a lot to offer Canada. I agree with you, being a victim won't get you anywhere, but I don't think your comment is very helpful. Like, the lads just commenting and responding and helping me out in my video. Like, we go back to him for a second. Sorry, it wasn't JMob 3292, it was GX Triple H ER 3896. I mean, yeah, you could always still do it, you know. Like, my advice to you would be, why not still go and see if there is more to be offered? GX Triple H ER 3896. I think that's who Kitawaki or Kitawake is responding to, because it's in the replies section as opposed to my video. Maybe he has a lot though for Canada. Maybe he should go and see it. You know, yeah, being a victim won't get you anywhere, but just sharing his personal experience. You know, we're not here to shit all over him. So maybe he has a lot to offer. Um, and GX Triple AGR, if you 3896, maybe you should go over and check it out. Never too late, you know. So I think that's a better way of looking at it. But I will agree with Kitawaki, Wacky Wacky. There is nothing to be gained by being a victim, for sure. But I don't think he's being a victim. I think he's saying, I wish I would have gone. Because basically flogging a dead horse, which is what JMob 3292 said. So perhaps maybe that's what you're doing. You're flogging a dead horse by staying here, and maybe you might consider going to Canada or US, Australia, UK, even. You never know. Yeah, you know. So I will say I agree with that part. Maybe question that. Maybe, yeah, okay. But you could have phrased that a lot better. You know, we're not here to attack anybody. Just saying. I think you make a valid point, but um, you could offer a bit more advice, perhaps. You know, just a thought. You know. Anyway, let's move on. GX Triple H ER 3896. Thank you very much for your comment. Don't focus on the negatives. Focus on the positives. Signa Man. Thank you very much, Signa Man. I just want to say that I really like that comment. I really like that quote. Really good advice there. So I think GX Triple H ER 3896. Look what Signa Man Z9D has said, hyphen Z9D, and take that advice on board. I think we could both deal with that, me and you. And perhaps we are flogging a dead horse, aren't we? And maybe it's time to maybe stop doing it. Maybe we should go where we're more appreciated. Let's give it a try. Never know. Like this comment down here from Scott Sheridan hyphen T9W. From my early childhood, I suffered with my mental health and had a deep depression. I fell into addiction, all the madness that came with it. I was bound for years with every tablet you could name prescribed. I tried everything to fix myself: psychology, medication, philosophy, CBT therapy, esoteric knowledge of all forms, and would get moments of freedom, but the darkness would always pull me back in. I was labelled with every mental health condition going, including ADHD, very common, unfortunately, these days. Um, there was always something missing, and I didn't know what. If I was to measure myself by an IQ score, I would be considered intelligent. After years of trying to fix myself psychologically, emotionally, in hopelessness, I called out to Jesus Christ, and it was a miracle. I have been set free from all of the above, and I realized what the gaping hole in me was. It was the spiritual aspect that must be addressed first, and only by that, through faith, can the rest of you, can the rest be taken from you. Sorry, so it was the spiritual aspect that must be addressed first, and only by that and through faith can the rest be taken from you. Okay, I get it. I hope you come to understand this, brother. Much love from Waterford City. Take care. God bless you. The only thing I know these days is I know very little, for the wisdom of the world is foolishness to God. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Thank you very much for that comment. God bless you as well, Scott. Thanks very much for that comment. Um, we are only to the northeast of you in County Wexford, the Waterford Brothers, the Dacia. So no, thank you very much, and I hope you're feeling better now, man. I really do. It's fucking awful, isn't it? It's terrible. And I find a lot of people with depression would score very highly in the IQ test. There's a lot of very intelligent people out there with depression. It can make you seem kind of stupid at times because you're so numb to everything. It's like nothing going on there. Dissociation and depersonalization, derealization, that can happen with severe depression. You know, happened to my brother, happened to me. So absolutely, you know, it's a fucking bastard. And unfortunately, this part here, when you talk about medication, philosophy, I think depressed people are very philosophical, aren't they? Because they question what's the purpose of life? What's the meaning of all this? Because we're trying to find purpose in life. And it's very tough because we feel so fucking miserable all the time. So I completely get you on that. Like, it's so tough because you're like, well, I feel like this for the rest of my life. Is this ever going to change? Is God real? And you've alluded to it there. And I think it's very important to have faith. To quote George Michael, I got to have faith, the faith, I got it. But it's very true. Great song and also a great point. I 100% have faith in God as well because there are incidents where I prayed and I didn't think I was going to get out of them, and somehow I did. So I'm with you on that. God bless you. He's up there and looking down, and I don't believe necessarily you have to put all your faith into the Catholic Church and just blindly follow, but put your faith in God, a higher being. Now, do also have faith in yourself. You know, don't just think that you have to put all your faith into God and then everything will sort itself out, because sadly that's not the case. But it's certainly something that if you have in the background, there's a purpose to what you're doing. I truly believe that you meet people that are atheist, and a lot of people nowadays are atheist, and a lot more people are depressed. You know, there's obviously a correlation there somehow. Like, there's been times before where you've seen people, especially fucking Angela's Ashes and all those miserable Irish films. Why do Irish films always have to be miserable? Can anybody tell me that? I know we're talking about is Ireland a depressing place for young people. Well, is it tough being a young person in Ireland? But we never show the beautiful side. The west of Ireland is beautiful. The east, I'm a big, like yourself, I'm from the sunny southeast. I'm living there. I've got heritage from Wexford and a bit from Waterford actually, but that goes a bit further back. So up the Dacia and the Yeller Bellies. Bit of a rivalry down the hurling, isn't there? Big one there, but we'll ignore that. It's the Dubs we hate. Yeah, well, you make a lot of really good points there, and ADHD is a real condition, you know. And I know I'm not telling anybody anything new, but doctors are very quick to, as you say, throw the medication out there. Maybe they should go for this, some therapy. I started with CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and I talked about it at the University of Mental Health, as I called it. Cognitive behavioral therapy, then dialectical behavioral therapy, compassion focused therapy. So you kind of, you know, the building blocks are just one on top of the other, and to strong mental health, reframing the way you think, because when you are more prone to depression or mental illness, especially like if you've ADHD. People with ADHD can be nervous wrecks, and they need more stimulation as well. They just can't focus on one thing. They procrastinate a lot. You're not always full of energy as well with ADHD. There is tiredness that comes with it because you just cannot focus. You get worn out so easily. It's exhausting because you're releasing all of these chemicals that are just, you know, making you extremely jittery. But then there's a crash. There's always a crash. But people are prescribing it, people are self diagnosing with ADHD with no doctor to actually back that up. And as well, if you have a kid who's hyper, it's like, well, there's a lot of stimulation nowadays. Perhaps that's the problem. Perhaps it's all the shite they put in the food. Um, RFK was talking about it. We hear him like cartrazine is in. He makes a lot of sense. He also talks a lot of. He also makes a lot of very strange points. He's obviously a very intelligent guy, but tartrazine is definitely a very toxic chemical. Um, and it's proven to give kids autism, ADHD. It's poison, but there is a reason why all these mental health conditions are popping up, and neurodiversity. So no, Scott, thanks very much. Really appreciate your comment, and I really wish you well. I genuinely mean that. Sorry for ripping into RFK. I actually like him. I think he seems like a good guy. He's big on anti-vaccine, but I think he's anti-needles because he used to be a heroin addict. So I can understand, we can't just judge him. Maybe there's something going on, but look, that's American politics. That's for another day. Um, that's a very complicated thing altogether. So let's not touch on that. We have Julie hyphen U4F. Don't listen to negative comments. I'm a woman in America watching you right now, so all kinds of people will listen to you if you put your content out there. It's hard for everyone starting out now. There's a deliberate attempt to press first world countries everywhere. I don't want to get any more political than that since European governments watch social media. So Merry Christmas, and we'll be watching in the new year. Fuck, do they? Yeah, I heard they do. Yeah, but fuck it. That's why we won't become a political channel. Thank you very much, Julie hyphen U4F, which is called you Julie. But thank you very much. There's a lot of people giving a lot of love to this channel from America. So howdy do, guys. Howdy, partner. Appreciate it. A lot of Americans watch the channel, so thank you very much, guys. And it just shows you they can relate as well. Everyone can relate. And thank you very much. Don't worry, I won't listen to negative comments. People like you are the reason why I'm able to zone out because I know that I have guys like you, women like you as well, who are giving the positive comments and keeping me going because you're reassuring me that I'm doing good in the world. So thank you very much, Julie. Really appreciate that. Um, you're a good one, and thank you very much. Hope things are all right in America. Wonder what your thoughts are when Trump gets in charge, but guess you can't do any of a worse job than the Biden administration, and we'll leave it on that. I won't get any more political either. Thank you very much, Julie. Really appreciate that. Now we have Angela Gardner, 5230. She made a few comments and then just kind of fucked off. Just said, right, I'm off. Now, don't know what you're trying to say there, but I found if I found we're young in Ireland, the safest place on earth. Maybe I found Ireland to be the safest place on earth. Let me know. I'm English and almost married an Irish man. It ended. We were young. I'm an older lady, and so sorry about Ireland. Could not go there again. All right. Yeah, no, in general, like, look, Ireland is a safe country. You know, it's not as dangerous as the likes of Colombia, or say Nigeria, Iraq. You know, um, but it's certainly like in Dublin, in Galway City, Cork City, like any big cities, Waterford City. Scott, you can tell us more about that. Waterford, I've heard, like, has gotten bad. Even in Gorey, where I am, like Wexford town, we just call it Wexford, FYI, but in Wexford town, like, there's been an increase in antisocial behaviour. Um, so look, it's definitely not as safe as it once was. And I'm speaking and getting opinions of older people in Ireland. I was only chatting to a lad the other day from Wicklow, lovely fella, was telling me about being a recovering alcoholic. Opened up to me a lot. Now, I don't always recommend that you open up to complete strangers, but I'm not going to use it against him. I'm not going to give his name. I didn't get his name, but he said he used to work on Moore Street, as I say, or Moore, depends. Moore Street, however you want to say it. I say Moore, double O R E. But you know where they have the stalls set up, and he said they were the real women of Dublin. You know, you hear people like my dad talking about Moore Street all the time. My mum, people used to love going up and down Moore Street and then going into Arnott's and O'Connell Street. And they say Dublin is just not the same as it was. It's changed, and isn't that awfully sad? Everything they remember about it is gone, and I do think that's happening everywhere. It really is just an eradication of memories of culture, um, which is it's shit. You could say, "Oh, you're just afraid of progress or whatever," but no, memories are important. You don't shouldn't dwell on the past, but you should have positive memories. That's how we base our whole fucking existence and our livelihood, our lives. We look back on something and think, "Oh, I remember that fondly." Nostalgia is an important thing. Um, you don't want to get too nostalgic, yeah, but you do want to have nostalgia and be like, "Yeah, wasn't that a great time?" And I look back fondly on that. Um, you can't just take away something that made a place what it is and expect people to be okay with that. But I guess that's what they fucking expect. The nitwits in charge are completely destroying Irish culture. They were even talking before about knocking down the chimneys in Dublin, you know, as you come in over in Sandymount, or, you know, out near Dublin 4, the near the incinerator. Incinerator is Rings End, but you know what I mean, the big chimneys, the red and white chimneys. And they were there, Dave Moore, ironically, from Dermot and Dave, saying to Dermot, "You can't do that." Dermot didn't know why. You know, he's from Limerick, so he doesn't get how important they are. They're landmarks. You know, when you go up to Dublin and you put those chimneys up, that's Dublin. You know, that's what it is. So, you know, you can see Hope, you can see the chimneys. You know where you are. You can see Dunleary. Um, like, what is the fucking obsession with eradicating everything that is Irish that we all remember and love? Fucking baffles me. Um, but yeah, couldn't go there again. Was it because of the Irish man and everything ending? Probably was. Thank you for saying you're sorry about Ireland, but yeah, yeah, it's still relatively safe, you know, for sure. But as I made that video, there isn't much of a deterrent for antisocial behaviour, and that could be a big problem. Like when you saw the riots after that horrific incident where that poor young girl got stabbed, you saw a guard going around, like Irish police, holding a bike up to protect himself. And the guys went in, the scumbags, stole the bike off him and threw it into the River Liffey. The guards were made into an absolute laughing stock. Um, why would you want to be a guard seeing that? There looks like there is no protection. you are at the mercy of the criminal, basically. There's no fear factor. People aren't afraid of the Irish police. You can say what you want, they're not. They have no respect for them. Now, I think they should, but they don't. There's no inherent respect. So do you give them the right to use more force? I don't know. But you hear a lot of young fellas, acting like the hard man, guard of rats and roaring abuse at them. Always fucking hear it, don't you? Trying to be the hard man and then filming them when they're pinning someone to the ground, not showing what has happened beforehand. Um, but there's more recruits in Australia for the Australian police who are of Irish descent. So what does that tell you? Maybe they're appreciated over there. 420 odd, it's Ireland. Just thumbs up. I said I was going to go through all the comments, and I certainly will. But thank you for the thumbs up. Anyway, you obviously either agree, I'm assuming. Then we have Kitawake, Kitawaki. Yeah, it was always tough when you don't build the habit of trying real hard, living clean, and being open minded to doing new, wholesome things. Again, what is your point? And I even say it down here. Yeah, trying to do that. And I do recommend everyone do the same. I don't know what you're getting at. You haven't responded to any of them, so I don't know. Don't know what you're saying. Yeah, I need to work on living clean for sure, but don't drink nearly as much as I used to. Keep a handle on that. Try and always get my 5 a day in. Actually, have an orange with me here. I went to get one, but I won't eat it for the video because I'm a loud eater. Nobody needs to hear that. I don't see your point. Yeah, if you don't try hard, fair enough. But I've also made the point that I've tried very hard and not gotten the rewards that I felt I deserved. So there's that as well. Living clean, yeah, should always do that. But I am open minded, very open minded. I've literally asked people to leave comments, and they have, and I've respected their comments and been like, I want to hear more. I'm very open minded to whatever people have to say. Find what you're saying is a bit vague, like in every regard. Not saying that it's not correct, but it's kind of like, yeah, okay. Maybe could you elaborate more on that? Maybe go into more depth, perhaps. Anyway, let's move on. What part of Ireland are you from? I'm from Dublin, originally for my sins. Dublin's not so bad. It's okay. But yeah, I'll always have a special place in my heart for sure. The Dubs. And Ross O'Neill hyphen S2P again. Your pain is your power, and autism is your superpower. It probably doesn't feel like it, but if you harness it into into what you want to do, you'll do it well. I use my trauma as energy in what I do. You have a great sense of humor, which is a characteristic. Also, it's a great characteristic. So, saying my autism is a superpower, which I've heard before. I appreciate that, Ross. Thank you. A lot of people do say that. It can be a hindrance, but it can also be a superpower. So I agree with you. Definitely gives me a different perspective. And if you harness it into what you want to do, you will do well. Yeah, agreed. If you take that energy and put it into something that you're passionate about, you'll go far. I agree 100%. That's kind of what I'm doing with this channel. And yeah, using the trauma as energy. Good point. Use that, you know, because it will get you far. And you'll be more empathetic of other people as well, because you know what it's like to go through it. You won't want them to go through it as well. So it's definitely a lot of good points, Ross. Thank you for saying that, because it is true. And thank you. I tried to have a great sense of humor. Really appreciate that. Try to be funny, try to be open-minded, humorous, all those wonderful things. Yeah, those who have suffered can relate to the feeling, but we must first heal. I'll emphasize that you can't help somebody else when you haven't helped yourself first. You've got to heal first before you start offering advice. Because if you haven't gotten better, you're a sick person giving advice. And like you could say, yeah, I'm a sick person giving advice, but I have done a lot of work on myself and I'm in a much better place than I was before. I wouldn't have had the confidence to go and make these videos in the first place. So that's something, you know. Um, I'm just trying to relate to people, and if someone has some advice to give, yeah, absolutely, give it by all means. Yeah, and autism gives me a different perspective, which I think is very important. Getting as many different perspectives as you can is a great thing, and will only send you further in life. I truly believe that. I've met so many great people who've helped me a lot, you know, different perspectives. Ross, you've helped me out loads as well. Um, you seem like a really good guy, and I really appreciate you leaving these comments on, and I really hope you're doing well. I'll definitely check out those books you were talking about as well, for sure. Now let's just see down. Totally agree. If you don't look after yourself first, you won't be in a position to help anyone else. You can't give what you don't have. Self care is so important. Completely agree. Me and you are making a good team here. I think we're basically just saying exactly the same thing. But adding to it, you know, in a good way. And that's what this comment section allows me to do. Um, 100%. Like, as I was saying there, you should love yourself first and then you can love other people. Um, if you have no self love, and a lot of people do not help themselves. Like I said before, I have a granddad um, who was nearly 91, who wouldn't do an awful lot for anyone, you know, wouldn't really put himself out. Selfishness has gotten him far in many ways. Then my another granddad, my maternal granddad, died when he was 64. Put everyone before himself. Looked after everyone. Even my mum was saying, while he was having a heart attack on the way to the hospital, before it got really bad, you know, he was, you know, the warning signs like puking, and he made sure to park the car out of everyone's way. That's just the kind of guy he was, you know. Um, but it seemed like he put everybody else's needs ahead of his own. And I don't recommend you do that. As we both said there, Russ, can't help anyone until you've helped yourself. That's a given, you know, for sure. You're dead right. It's good to see that you already know that, you know. And I've helped myself through therapies, and that's why I'm saying it, given the advice I have so far. But I'm always learning. Never stop learning, guys. uh, you'll go far if you're open minded and, you know, willing to hear other people out, you know, for sure. Don't shut other people off. Hear them out. You might not agree with them, but definitely do listen to people. You never know what advice you might get from someone. Just talking about my own experience, I used to tolerate an awful lot of bullshit. Um, but yeah, lost a few friends recently who were never real friends, you know, being honest. It's sad, like it is, but that would have knocked me for six, knocked me for 600. I was so sensitive to any bit of criticism. Now it's like, fuck you, you know, I have enough confidence in myself to know that what you say is not the truth. And if you don't like me, now that I'm being my authentic self, I'm realizing people who don't like it. And I mentioned the therapies that have helped me a lot. I've done CBT as well, cognitive behavioral therapy. These two bad boys here, brilliant. I recommend doing DBT before CFT, and then first start off with CBT. There's definitely a song in there somewhere. Um, but yeah, you know, those therapies have helped me an awful lot. Met a great group of friends, which I need to catch up with in the new year. That'll be one of my New Year's resolutions, of which there are many. Trust me. Thank you very much, Ross. Really appreciate it. Keep commenting. Everybody keep commenting.